Hello, hello. Welcome in to this Q&A call, this opportunity for us to talk about Sovereign Goddess Summer 2023 and for us to explore what this might look like for you if you decide to join Sovereign Goddess Summer 2023, this cohort, the fifth time I've run this program. So this would be the fifth cohort of Sovereign Goddess Summer. So if you're here, I know some of you might be joining live and other people had said they wanted to catch the replay. So I want to share some thoughts with you today. Maybe we'll have some people join live. And if not, if you're listening to the replay, that's so beautiful too. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome in. Welcome to this space and this conversation about Sovereign Goddess Summer 2023. So I keep saying 2023 because, as I mentioned, I've been running this program for 5 years. Each year, the program changes and shifts a little bit. And so I wanted to give you a chance. Some of you may have looked at this program before and thought about it, and some of you might be brand new to thinking about this program. And I wanted to give you a chance to think a little bit more about it and think about how this might serve you or support you in where you are in your life. So if you're listening to this, you are likely a part of my community already. You are likely someone who knows me well. I know we have a really beautiful, I like to call it my beloved community, this beloved community of purpose-driven, heart-centered change makers and leaders. You're somebody who cares deeply. You're likely sensitive, soulful, spiritual in some way or another. And you may be here because you're noticing places where you're playing small in your life or feeling stuck or stagnant. And so if any of those things are how you identify, and I also identify as a woman and are here and thinking about, what would it feel like to connect more with your freedom and power within? What would it be like to take up more space? What would it be like to play bigger in your life? And how could this program support you in those things? I'm really excited to chat with you. A lot of the women that join this program are entrepreneurs in some way or identify as creatives or visionaries. They may run businesses, they may be in leadership in a company that they're a part of, or they may be in leadership in some way in their community. So I know a lot of folks who work with me are in education, are in healthcare. So what I'm trying to say is, if you care about the world, and some people are stay-at-home moms that also are deeply caring about their vision of their position as a parent and the kind of change making that they are doing as a parent as well. So I just want to say there's all kinds of journeys in which you might be a part of in terms of accessing this program and thinking about how it might be valuable for you. And I'm going to give you more examples of that today. But I just wanted to mention those are likely the people that are drawn to my work. And like I said, if you're here, you probably know me well. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing myself today, other than just to say, if we don't know each other, I would love to get to know you more. And I am a life, love, and leadership coach. I have been coaching for over 10 years now, and I run a mixture of group programs, masterminds. I offer private coaching, and a lot of you join me for workshops as well. So there's a lot of different ways that people work with me these days. I am here today, though, to talk about Sovereign Goddess Summer and this upcoming summer program that I'm so excited about, and I'm so excited to invite you into. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about now that you hopefully know whether this is something you want to be thinking about more in terms of where you're at in your life. I really want to say that this can be both a personal and professional growth opportunity for you. I'm very much, as a life coach, look at things in a holistic way. So a lot of times I'm supporting you as a whole human, right? There's lots of things that are happening in your world, and I'm supporting you as a whole human. That being said, a lot of the ways that I support you translate very easily into your leadership and into likely the ways that you're showing up in your profession. So while this isn't necessarily a professional development program per se, I very much know and have seen how being involved in programs like this very much supports your professional growth as well as your personal growth. So know that when you come into Sovereign Goddess Summer, I'm viewing you as a whole human. We can talk about ways if you want to play bigger in your work life. We can talk about that, of course, in your leadership. But also, sometimes people are drawn to my work because they're thinking about something when it comes to their relationships, either a romantic relationship or other relationships where they want to shift the dynamics in their relationship. Or maybe there's something else about your life that you are recognizing you're ready to shift, to take up more space, to feel into your next level self, into this sovereign goddess energy, and really embody that in your life. And so this is a conversation about that as well. So let's talk about the journey of the Sovereign Goddess Summer as it is this summer. As you've likely seen, if you're here listening to this program starts in April. I just decided to push back. If you've read some materials, I had said it would start April 3rd. I've decided to push it back to April 10th, just a week later. And that just is to give me a little more spaciousness in getting everyone enrolled, really. So we start April 10th. And from there, the first part of the program is really focused on manifesting and manifesting principles. So if you have done my Come Alive program before, I just want to make a nod to anyone who's done that before. We'll be looking at the principles in Come Alive. And so Come Alive is a 4-week group coaching opportunity that I have that brings all the principles of manifesting together and is sort of like a manifesting 101. So if you know a lot about manifesting already, this would be in the spirit of review for you. If you don't, which a lot of people who work with me know a few things about manifesting, but they haven't really studied deliberate creation or manifesting before, these 4 weeks are really focused in on understanding the principles of deliberate creation and manifesting, which is one of my favorite topics. I think it's incredibly powerful when we're thinking about moving into our next level self, calling in our sovereign goddess energy, knowing that we have this, what I've been talking about as our potency, being able to tune into our positivity, the sense of positivity that we each hold inside us, being able to look at what the possibilities are and be open to them. These are sovereign goddess practices that are very much established through understanding and having a strong understanding of deliberate creation. And so that's why we start with that focus so that we can keep using those potency, possibilities, positivity, deliberate creation principles throughout the summer together, throughout the summer. At some point, I'll share with you the books, because for those of you, I think it's probably pretty clear to y'all that I'm a book geek. Like, I love books and I love reading, and I have curated a reading list, a recommended reading list to go along as well with this program. And so I want to share with you the books, but I'll just say there's a book that you can read to go along with the first month as we explore manifesting deliberate creation principles and your potency as a sovereign goddess. So from there, in this program, we'll take a 3-week integration rest time. And this rest time can be total rest, if that's what you wish, if that's what you're needing, if that's what's calling to you. You can just integrate, like, okay, I've learned all these manifesting principles. How do I maybe, start practicing these in my life? Or maybe there's concepts, because it's a 4-week sort of intensive around manifesting. Maybe you just want to sort of rest with those principles and start practicing them, studying some things again that maybe you want to understand more. The point is, you have these 3 weeks of integration. And I've done this intentionally because I really value spaciousness in programs that I'm a part of. Most of us have full lives with lots of things going on. And so I think it's nice to take time for integration. So it's an intentional move to have these 3 weeks of integration. I do have a couple of books that I would recommend that you could read if you wanted to kind of keep in your sovereign goddess spirit. The sovereign goddess practices that I'm going to suggest during that time are that of play and peace. And some of you have heard me talk about this before. I notice that a lot of women that work with me are either desiring one of those sort of areas of their life more. Some people need to start connecting in with their sense of peace and rest, to carve out more time for themselves. Well, you'll notice this is a theme in Sovereign Goddess Summer. And some people really want to connect with their sense of play. Like they just need more fun in their lives. And again, this is a principle that's woven throughout Sovereign Goddess Summer, but we're really going to be intentional about it in those 3 weeks if you choose to focus in on play or peace. So again, integration time, there's no calls during those 3 weeks in May. You have a little bit of time to integrate. And then we get into the rest of the summer. So we then follow in June with a month focused on the practice of presence, the Sovereign Goddess practice of presence. And this is really powerful. It builds, for those of you that are needing more peace and play in your life, it really builds on that intentionally. And also in the month where we look at presence, we're also looking at what's not working in our lives that we can become present to and start to release, right? Just starting to release what is not working so that we can bring ourselves into even more alignment, even more integrity in our lives. So this is going to be a really powerful month for us to really set even a firmer foundation in our Sovereign Goddess practices. We'll also, starting in June, have weekly 3 weeks out of the month practice sessions. For those of you, last summer I started doing this and everybody really loved it, so I want to keep doing it. So for those of you that really want to delve into the reading and practice, each of the books that I've chosen are really powerful and they have really powerful practices in them. And so we'll be meeting weekly in addition to the other parts of the program, three times per month, to practice some of the things that we're learning in the books that we're reading. And this is really powerful in terms of integrating the material as well. So those practice sessions will be there. There'll be 2 group coaching calls as well during that time. In July, we'll focus on pleasure and power, 2 more Sovereign Goddess practices. We'll be looking at some really powerful reading, have practice sessions, have group coaching calls, focusing in on our power within and connecting into our sense of pleasure. So you can see how these practices are layering on, but we're very intentional about these practices for ourselves in these months. And then the final month in August, we'll be looking at the Sovereign Goddess practice of prosperity. This one, I think, is really special for a lot of big-hearted change makers. We oftentimes, I've noticed that a lot of us can be almost avoiding the prosperity piece. Like, oh, I don't want to think about money. I don't want to think about my finances. Like, oh, like kind of like a lot of people I work with kind of want to avoid their finances. And I get it. I get why that is a thing. And that is part of why our last Sovereign Goddess practice is that of prosperity, because I want you to be a thriving Sovereign Goddess, which means that you have more than enough financially. And when it comes to prosperity, to feel free and powerful in your life, right? And so I know this is a really important practice for a lot of us as well, to be really practicing intentionally our prosperity with prosperity. So that is the journey. Just to reiterate, in the first month, there are weekly group coaching calls. There's weekly trainings and weekly group coaching calls to really have sort of an intensive around manifesting. Then we'll have a little break, 3 weeks break for you to integrate and take some time there. And then we'll jump into June, July, and August, where we're doing 1 training per month. It's a pre-recorded training. You'll be able to do that. I encourage you to do it in the first week of the month, but you'll be able to do that then. And then you'll move into these group coaching calls where you get support with me. And you also have these practice sessions to look at the reading even more and integrate that further. So I hope what you're hearing here is there is a beautiful community that is formed through the work that we're doing. There's a cohort of other women who are working on their Sovereign Goddess practices in their lives, and also moving through wherever they feel like they might be playing small, feeling stuck, feeling stagnant, to take up more space, to play bigger in their lives. So in those group coaching calls, you'll really have an opportunity to get to know some of the other people in the as well as the practice sessions, to get to know the other participants, to hear what they're working on. And there's really, I find, some amazing inspiration. And we were just talking about this in my mastermind actually yesterday in one of our group coaching calls to my mastermind. It's so like the synergy of what someone else brings to those group coaching calls is incredibly powerful. When you're in a cohort, it's so fascinating how oftentimes other people are working through things that we are also, even if we hadn't brought them to the group coaching call, we also, there's something in it for us. There's something in it for us as well. And so those group coaching calls are super powerful. The last thing that I want to mention for anyone who's listening to this now is between now and the 31st of March, if you sign up between now and March 31st, I'm also including an incredible bonus. Like, this bonus is worth almost as much as you're paying, like it almost doubles what you're paying for this program in terms of the value of it, which is that you get a monthly private coaching call with me for 5 months. So you get access if you sign up for this sort of early bird. It's an early bird special is what I'm calling it. This is available to the first 12 women that sign up, I should say. So I just want to make it clear at some point there, the program itself, I'm capping at 24 women. So just so you know, it will still be like an intimate and small group. From my perspective, 24 people it's a really amazing size. So for the first 12 people that sign up and enroll, if you enroll before the 31st of March, which is the deadline, if you're one of those first 12 people, you also get private coaching, which is just an incredible bonus. So I would get on that if I were you. I would definitely sign up. So you don't want to miss out on that. If there's a way that you can get that bonus, it's a really high value bonus to be able to work in, not only have these group coaching calls, but to also have monthly private coaching with me. So I really encourage you to take me up on that. It's a pretty sweet bonus. So there's also, if you're listening to this on Friday, the 24th, which is when I'm recording this, there is also a pre-sale offer. Many of you have already been invited into that pre-sale offer, which is $550 off the total enrollment in the program. But if you are for some reason listening to this replay, it's still the 24th, and you know what, actually, I'm just going to say here, I'll just say this in case you're listening. I will extend that pre-sale because I know some people were listening to the replay, and I do want you to have that pre-sale available to you. So if you apply and enroll by Monday is the 27th, I'll extend it just for 3 days. So you have over the weekend if you're listening to this and you want to get in at that pre-sale price. So not only would you get the pre-sale price, which is $550 off the total enrollment in the program, but you would also have access to the private coaching as well. So those are ways that I'm trying. Basically, the intention by offering you those things is I love to be generous in terms of how I price my programs to begin with, and then also how I want you to be there. If you want to be there, I want you to be there. And so the pre-sale price is an invite for you if money is an issue for you and that's something you're thinking about. That takes off $550, right? That takes off the total for the enrollment is $2,750. That takes off $550, and so it would be $2,220. And there are monthly payment plans. So I just want you to see that I'm trying to find ways, if money is a problem for you, or money, not on a problem, but one of the places where you notice yourself playing small in your life. And you are like, it's, when I say problem, I mean like a resistance. If it's a reason that you might feel held back from joining a program like this, I just want you to see that there are ways for you to make this happen. I also have some payment plans that make the payments as low as I think $247 per month. And beyond that, again, if you're like, I really want to join this program, but money's feeling like it's my one resistance, I also would be happy to talk with you about some sort of extended payment plan if that would be supportive for you. So beyond what I've offered here, if what you really need is you want to do it, but your payments need to be $200 per month, let's work that out, right? So I just want to say, if you want to be there and you are committed to the work, which is the thing that is most important to me in this. I want to work with women that want to be there, that are ready to do this work, that are ready for the change that this will create in their life, that they are just like, I need to be in this space. I need to be in this community. It is time. It is time. I am ready to play bigger in my life. Okay. So really, that is the thing that's most important to me, that you feel committed to the work, that you feel committed to the program, and you feel excited about it, like excited about what this will create in your life. If you're feeling those things, then this is for you. Okay. So I just want you to feel that energy, because that is the sovereign goddess energy that we'll be continuing to tap into throughout this program. As I mentioned, I'd show you the books. I did bring them today. Again, we have people who are not bookworms who are part of this program. So I'm sharing this with you as a person who loves books and gets super excited about recommended reading lists. But I will say, I'm just smiling thinking about somebody who joined last summer who was like, I am not going to read any of the books, just so we're clear. And I was like, that's fine. Like, I'm going to keep talking about the books. I'm going to encourage you to read them, but it's not like you have to read them. So if that feels like, no, but I don't actually like them, I don't actually like books, then just know that you can totally be a part of the program and not read the books as long as you're cool with me talking about the books. That's fine. But some of you I know are like, oh my gosh, show me the books. I can't wait. So this book, Manifesting, you can see it has some lovely coffee stains on it because me and coffee. But this book is really powerful when it comes to manifesting. And it's one that I think fewer people have read. So I chose this one. There's a lot of other more popular manifesting books. And so I was like, let's choose a different one that maybe some folks haven't read yet. You might learn some new things. In our month of integration, I have two really cool books that you might want to check out. One is Rest is Resistance, Manifesto by Tricia Hershey. This book is newer. And it is really just like what it says, a manifesto to rest and why this is important in our lives. So this one's super powerful, but also this is one of my favorite books ever. If Women Rose Rooted. This is if you've been in Sovereign Goddess somewhere in the past, I used to use this book in another way. I love this book so much. It's very much, as it says, a journey to authenticity and belonging, focused on Celtic mythology and the heroine's journey. There's so much goodness in it. I refer to that book a lot. We also have in June, The Way of Integrity with Martha Beck, super powerful book for coming more into integrity and presence in our lives. Then from there in July, Unbound, A Woman's Guide to Power. This is all about power and pleasure. Such a sexy book. Can't wait to read that with you. And then in August, we'll be reading can you see that? We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. Also a very, very powerful book, super encouraging for no matter whether you are an entrepreneur or in any kind of position in your life where you are wanting to connect in with prosperity in a way that feels really aligned and good to you. This is that sort of that book, and the ways that we talk about prosperity are very much in alignment with your values and what it is that you care about. And we'll talk a lot about my own money journey probably during that time, because this is something that's been important to me in my life as well, to really work on how I understand and view money in my life. So those are the books. Those are the books. If you are excited about books, I wanted to show you those. And let's see, we don't have anyone who's joined me live, so I'm just going to talk a little bit longer and then we'll wrap up here. But let's see, I'm looking at my notes to see if there is anything else important to share with you that I haven't shared yet. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to share is just personally these practices and why they're important to me, and also how I've seen shifts in my clients as well. So personally in my life, again, some of you may have been following me for quite a while. You might have heard some of these stories before, but I'm just going to share them again because they feel really important to me. First of all, when it comes to manifesting was something that I had heard about for a long time. And I remember setting this intention several years ago now. I want to learn about manifesting because people keep talking about it, and I hear, like, I've heard some things that make me think it's kind of cheesy, but I also hear some people I really respect talking about it. And so I want to understand, what is this manifesting thing? So I ended up doing a bunch of reading on my own, and then also working with a coach that taught me a ton about manifesting. And I worked with her in private coaching for 2 years. We really worked on my own manifesting practices. So personally, I did a lot of work in this area to understand for myself what is manifesting. And then beyond that, I got so inspired. You all know I've been teaching about manifesting for a long time too now, because I just was like, why do we not all talk about this? Why do we not all talk about manifesting? Like, this is so powerful for our lives. And so personally, when it comes to using these sovereign goddess practices of potency, really mixed in with all of the other practices, because actually all the practices we do in sovereign goddess support you with manifesting. Like, that is part of how I've designed this, is to use these practices that have supported me and many others to create a luminous life, to have the kind of life that is what you want. And it doesn't mean that there are not challenges. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect, right? It doesn't mean that, this is some sort of magic wand that changes everything immediately in your life. I want you to hear that. I want you to know that I am devoted to these practices in my life. And so the invitation here is that of devotion. This is not about quick fixes. This is not about, like, in 6 weeks, this will happen for you. I don't know. Maybe it will, because sometimes things happen really fast. But other times it's a devotion. Other times it's about the devotion to these practices and how they serve you in your life to, again, play bigger, to be in your freedom and power within even more, and to make choices that are in deep alignment with your authenticity, with who you are in the world. So, personally, there have been some really amazing moments for me with money. I'm just going to speak to those because money has been an area I've been working on in my life. There was a really specific time that I can think of when I decided that I wanted to pursue a particular opportunity, but that opportunity was going to cost me around $8,000. And I was like, I don't actually have that money. I wonder how I'm going to do that. And if you've stuck with me in manifesting at all before, you know that one of the things about manifesting is that we don't actually have to worry about the how. We just have to make a decision about something, and then aligned actions come into place. So without going into the whole story, I just want to say that I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pursue this opportunity. Yes, it costs $8,000. I don't actually know how that $8,000 is coming, but at the time I was really, really, like, holding on to the faith that this was possible, that I could pursue this opportunity. And I am not kidding you that about 2 weeks after I decided, I got this letter from my employer that was like, we made a mistake on your contract. That I had no idea. I had no idea there was a mistake on my contract. We made a mistake on your contract, and because of the mistake and what the calculations are, we will be, like, depositing $8,500 into your bank account, next week or something. Like, it was ridiculous. I was like, what the heck? And I'm not saying that happens all the time, right? Like, this is not like, and you're just going to manifest $8,000 whenever you want. It's not like that happens to me all the time. But this was a time where I had really made a clear decision. This is something I want to do. I really want to do this. And the universe showed up, like, whether you think of that as God or the universe or love energy or life, like, it doesn't matter to me what you think of it as. Like, I'm going to say the universe showed up for me in that situation. And in a, like, way that I would have not been able to tell you that was happening, like that would have happened in that way. Other times where I feel like I've manifested money specifically, where I've been like, oh, I was definitely manifesting that. Like, that was a co-creation with the universe, was also a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I was really wanting to go on this trip, and I'll explain a little bit more about that too, because it's interconnected, but I really wanted to go on this trip, and I just didn't have the extra money for a plane ticket. I decided at the time, like, I'm going to manifest the money for this ticket. It's going to happen if it's meant to be. If it's meant to be, I will manifest the money for this ticket. And in another, like, super bizarre oh my gosh, there's like $1,500 in my bank account, which I can tell you the logical reason why that happened, right? Like I can tell you now why $1,500 was deposited, but I'm not kidding you in that one morning I looked at my bank account and I had an extra $1,500. And I was like, okay, that's like almost exactly what it was going to cost to buy this airplane ticket, flight. And it was in my bank account. Now later I figured out why, and I understood, and it was okay. Like logically it made sense too. I had overpaid on something and I had been like paid back essentially, but like I had overpaid years before on this thing and I didn't know that money was coming back to me. So I'm just telling you, it is wild. It is wild. It is wild. And I'm not saying that there are, always going to be like magical money and big chunks of money exactly when you need it. There are other times when that hasn't happened, right? Like I'm not saying that this happens to me every day or every week, but it does happen. And for me, I attribute that to manifesting. I am holding this faith in these things that I desire because we talk about your desires being sacred. And then these things just like show up. I won't tell all the stories, but I very much feel like I manifested this house that I'm in right now. I can tell you that story sometime if you want. I also am very clear that I manifested this relationship. And some of you know, I have a long distance partner. He lives in Ireland. And I, for a very, very long time, have longed for the kind of romantic relationship that this is. There's so much that is amazing about this relationship for me. And it's one that I've been calling in for a really long time. Like I have been committed. Some of you have been with me on this journey of being committed to the kind of love that I really, really desire. And I don't know what the future will hold. There's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out in terms of how would we be together right now. Because I'm in Alaska, for those of you who don't know, I'm in Alaska and he's in Ireland. But I'm actually not super worried about the how, because I know that we were brought together for whatever period of time that we will be together. And this relationship is amazing. And it's helped me grow in so many ways. And so whatever happens next, however it works, I trust it's going to work out for my highest good. And that is what we do in Sovereign Goddess. That is what we do in Sovereign Goddess Summer. So those are just some examples of where I've seen these practices support me when I learn about manifesting and then layer that on with being very present to my desires, trusting that they are sacred, finding ways to have fun, to play, and to find peace in my life, tuning into pleasure, tuning into my own sense of power, where I have power and where I feel connected in power with the universe, with something bigger than me, and then continuing to do these prosperity practices that allow me more freedom and power within. Like these practices are the practices I work with and am devoted to in my life. And beyond that, I've seen there have been so many people who've been through the program at this point that I was like trying to think of some stories specifically for you. So, one participant who was a part of the program last summer, and I just want to share this because it didn't happen in the timeline that she wanted it to. And that's important for us, right? But she had joined the program last summer because she had just moved to a new town and she really wanted to keep tuning into her own freedom and power within while she moved to this new city where she had moved actually because of her love interest, her romantic relationship. He had lived in this other city. And also she had just like moved her children to this new city as well. So she was really, really focused on connecting in with herself, making sure to remember herself and care for herself while in the midst of all of these big changes. And also she really, really was deeply desiring this romantic relationship to grow and to thrive for her. And that for her really specifically ultimately meant cohabitating and being engaged and on the way to getting married. So obviously those things weren't necessarily things that were going to happen right away. But what we did last summer was really hold the energy and the faith that if this was for her, it was coming. And then we wove in all of these practices for her so that she has this like foundation in her own freedom and power within whatever happens in that relationship, but also knowing she deeply desired for this to be, a family that she was essentially creating. with this fellow. And I'm just so celebrating with her, because just as of the past couple of months, those things have happened for her. She's bought a house with him, and also gotten engaged, and she's so happy. And so, I'm not saying that those things will happen for you. That was a trajectory she was on, but I've seen how these Sovereign Goddess Summer practices have supported her to just really continue to take good care of herself while manifesting these things that she deeply desires. So that story makes me so happy. Those are some really big things that have just happened recently. I've seen a lot of folks who are a part of the program play bigger in their businesses. A lot of playing bigger in their businesses, whether it's showing up in bolder ways, making more money in their businesses. Some people have made way more money in their businesses through this program. Other people are on that path, right? Like they're on that path. They're playing bigger in their business. They're showing up unapologetically. They're calling in their power. They are calling these prosperity practices in, and they are on their path. I see them on their path to this. But the way that this program has helped them to play bigger in their lives has been super, super important. Other people have started dating again, right? Like a lot of us go through endings of relationships and are wanting to call in romantic relationships that are what we desire. And so for some people who've joined this program, it is about dating again. It is about them stepping into their love life in bold ways. And that is so much fun. I love supporting people with that. For other people, it's about getting into more alignment in their current romantic relationship, like finding the ways that they can call on their freedom and power within their sovereign goddess energy to keep creating and co-creating the kind of romantic relationship that they deeply desire. Last year, there was a person who was really, really unhappy in their current career, and they were trying to figure out how to shift, but they were in a mid-career place where they weren't ready to totally change things immediately. They were really working on what's the next most aligned choice for me. And I'm really happy to report that person has gotten out of this toxic work situation since that time. And even actually during Sovereign Goddess Summer, those shifts were happening. And they are now in a much, much better place when it comes to their career and their level of satisfaction and happiness when it comes to the work they're doing. So that was such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see someone taking up space, really claiming I do not need to be in a toxic work situation. I do not choose this, and I choose differently, and following the Sovereign Goddess practices to get there. So I'm mindful of the fact that I've been sharing with you a lot of things, but those are some of the things just in the past year or so that I've seen shift in people's lives as a result of being a part of this program. Maybe there's something different for you that you're working through that you would like to talk with me about. Please do. You can DM me on Instagram. You can email me and let me know, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about in your life? Where do you want to play bigger? Where do you want to take up more space? How do you want to connect to your freedom and power within? And let's talk about it. Let's talk about whether this program would be right for you in that way. I'm really, really here for those conversations. There is an application to join Sovereign Goddess Summer, and that is because it is really important to me that this is a good fit for you. And I want to know, what is it that you're working on? So if you haven't looked at the application yet, I'll make sure to include it with this video if you're watching the replay. The application isn't long. I would guess it would take you like 10 to 15 minutes to do the application. And this is more about me understanding where you're at. Like, what is it that you're working on? What is it that you're thinking about in your life? Does it seem like this program would be a good fit for you? I will contact you, and we will talk about whether this is the right fit for you and whether this is the right time for you too. Those things are deeply important to me because, again, I want you in this program if you're like, this is the time, this is the summer, this is it. Like, I am ready to go. Okay. Ultimately, and I said this in another workshop I led earlier this week too, if you listen to the Sovereign Goddess Summer work or the Being a Sovereign Goddess workshop, really what this is about trusting your self-worth, believing in your self-worth, and from a place of deeply trusting your desires and what it is that you desire in this lifetime, you starting to decide there's something about the decision. I just want to say there's something about the decision saying like, and it's not that it has to, you don't have to say yes to this program to make a decision. I just want to say that you can say yes. And I've seen that by saying yes to a program, that decision opens up all kinds of other things for a person. But I just want to say that energetically, you right now, if you're listening to this and you're like, I am ready to step into this sovereign goddess energy more in my life, there's a decision that you get to make, and it's an energetic decision. You get to claim that you are worthy of your desires, that you, as you are worthy of your desires, and you are deliberately creating those things in your life. And that is just an energetic shift. When I say just, it's not actually like, it is that simple, and it's also very profound to say, I claim these things. I claim that this is for me. And I believe in my desires and I trust my desires. For a lot of us, this is challenging. And so this is the place where community is very, very supportive. For you to be held in a supportive community with me as your coach and with the other sovereign goddesses that will be a part of the summer program, that you are co-creating and deciding together and continuing to be in this sovereign goddess energy, in these sovereign goddess practices. For many people, community is the missing element, right? It's like, could you go read those books on your own? You totally could. You totally could. And I encourage you to. Could you do this work on your own, just knowing those practices? Yes, you totally can, right? It's not like you have to be a part of this program. That being said, oftentimes things shift faster and things change. And I'm not saying, I cannot guarantee that you will manifest something faster, but oftentimes things start to shift faster, and our devotion and our commitment to our desires and deliberately creating the life that we want is amplified by being around other people who we can have these conversations with, who we can work through the challenges, right? We all have limiting beliefs and fears and things that come up for us that myself, and I'm pointing to myself included, that come up for us, that make us pause, that slow us down, that stop us from really deliberately creating what we want. And what I want for you is to bring your deep heart-centered desires to this program, and for us to work on these practices together, so you just get to keep expanding, so you just get to keep calling in these deep desires. I know that you are blessing the world. You'll hear me say this a lot, but I know that you doing this inner work will bless the world. So it's about you, but it's also beyond you when you're doing this kind of inner work. It is incredibly powerful. And the shifts that this creates, not only for you, but for whether it's your children or your partner or your friendships or your family or your community beyond you or your employees, right? The people that you impact, it has a ripple effect. So I know you're a change maker. I know you care about these things. If you want to come join me, remember, let's see, that by the end of this weekend, by Monday, the 27th, that pre-sale offer is over. I'm extending it through Monday. I want you to be able to get in with that $550 off if that's what you want. If you're like still thinking that's totally cool, if money is not like holding you back in any way and you're just thinking about whether you do it or not, I would still say sign up by the 31st, because then you get that private coaching bonus with me, assuming you're one of the first 12 people that sign up. So those are some notes of encouragement for you, to encourage you to say yes and to do this and to make a decision for yourself, even if the decision is no. Okay. I just want to say, some of you might be listening. If you followed along with me this far, my guess is you're pretty interested. But if you are listening and you're like, yeah, this is a no for me right now, maybe next summer, maybe sometime in the future, that's okay too. I just want to encourage you to make a decision one way or the other. And these little points of like, here's a discount, here is a bonus, a really sweet bonus, is really with the intention of saying, like, if you're ready to say yes, I want you there. Let's get you enrolled, right? Let's get you committed for the summer so that we can do this amazing and really powerful work together that I know will transform your life. Okay. I'm going to wrap up there. Thank you. If you have joined me for this replay, thank you. I honor your time. I honor your investment in thinking about this with me. And I hope that this sovereign goddess energy that I am bringing and sharing with you right now will just amplify and bless your day and bless your weekend or your week ahead, that you get to feel into this and know this is for you if you're feeling that. Okay, I'll stop there. Message me if you have questions, and I'll see you soon. Bye.